Guys, this is Kiara again from KMBELLEZAS Brows, and for today's topic we are going to go over what is the difference with ombre powder brow and microblading. I got this question a lot through my DMs, and this is a topic that everyone wants to hear. Now, you guys probably have heard of both procedures, and they are very popular right now in the permanent makeup industry. And ombre powder brows, we're gonna start first, and that procedure is less invasive. What I mean by that is that we're not penetrating the skin as much as we're doing rather than microbleeding. So what I mean by penetrating skin is cutting the skin with the needle that we're using. Usually for ombre powder brows, we use a 1RL needle. Everyone has their own preferred needle for this technique. And usually what I see is that we use 1RL. So this technique is really good for people who have oily and combination skin. And this procedure can really last them for about 2 to 3 years. If they come to their regular touch-up appointments, this technique can really help you with your brows. It gives you that ability to wake up in the morning with already powdery brows, and that's pretty much what every girl wants. It's a little tiring with symmetry and coloring and penciling your brows every day. So this technique is really good for people who have oily and combination. Ombre powder brows is the less invasive procedure on my list. And by less invasive, I mean because when we're doing the ombre powder brows, we are just scratching on the surface with our needles. So the needles that we use for ombre powder brows are RS and RLs. And what RL stand for are rounded lines, and what RS means is rounded shaders. So you have the ability to use different kind of needles with ombre powder. The ombre powder brows gives them the very denser look, more of a shader look, more of a penciled in eyebrow. A lot of clients kind of dismiss the ombre powder brows because they feel like they're gonna get a really bold brow. And it depends on your personality and what kind of brow your client really wants. So the microblading, now that we're switching over, microblading is a more invasive procedure. And microblading back in the day used to be very unnatural. So microblading is created with a hand-like tool, and what we typically use is a long tool that you guys might seen on social or pictures. It's a long metal tool, and in the top of that tool we work with blade has a whole bunch of blades in them. Microblading is created with a hand-like tool compared to ombre powder brow, which we're using a machine. Nowadays with the PMU techniques and PMU industry, we have so many different kind of blades. I like to use Tina Davis blades because they give me the ability to change the kind of lines or strokes that I like to add onto my client's eyebrow. I can drop the link right here. In the next video, I can go over her blades and what her tools are. I love the brands, and I love all the products that she sells on her shop. You guys can go ahead and look and see what kind of blades you guys like to try on your eyebrows. Microblading can last up to 1 to 2 years, and that is awesome because a lot of times we get hesitant on doing our brows because we feel very scared of the prices. But if you think about it, this price and this kind of procedure can really last you a long time in the long run. Microblading does require a little bit more touch-ups than ombre powder brow. The reason being is because we're doing hair-like strokes onto the brow. They are not too in-depth into the skin, obviously because we don't want to agitate or penetrate the skin too much with the blade that we're using. So it does require a little bit more touch-ups down the long run, but it can still last 1 to 2 years. Microblading is recommended for people who have dry skin. It's not really good for people who have oily or combination skin, just because the oils will extract the pigment automatically out of the skin. That's because we are penetrating and opening the layers of the skin so that we can add pigment to it. And that's what's gonna create that natural looking look to the brow and not too of that shader. Compare ombre, think of shading, and micro, think of hair-like strokes. My main keywords when I am referring to microblading is 3D hair-like strokes, lines, hairs. My third technique that we like to use at KMBELLEZAS Brows is Kiara's Signature Brows. What this is I created this brow for my clients who want to enhance their brow throughout the years. So this is kind of our combination brow. We're doing micro hair-like strokes and we are shading throughout the brow. And usually what I mean by that is we are microblading from here to the top of the brow, and then over here throughout the brow we are shading. And this is a really fun technique. I love creating these brows because it gives it more of a dense and natural look to the brow, and you can keep playing with it throughout the years. What I use on Kiara's Signature Brows are both techniques. I like to use my machine through the shading, and I like to use my Tina Davis line of microblades. And I like to use both of these machines for creating that signature brow. And this brow is for both oily and combination skin. And I don't always recommend it for dry skin. I've had one client who I did dry skin on, and it didn't really look so natural. It looks more natural on the oily and combination skin. And Kiara's Signature Brows can last about 3 to 4 years if you come for your regular touch-ups. And I hope this video answers all the questions that I got through my DMs, and it explains the differences from ombre powder brow, microblading, and combination brows. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. And if you guys have any questions or concerns, please drop me a little comment here, and I'd love to get back and communicate with you guys.